Da 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 da. Premiere. Darlings, this is the first of my new programs called Backstage Plus. This is basically your questions, Q&A, only because I got so many that I can't answer them all in my Rudy Backstage. So in this program, which is now for the first time on a Tuesday, but could be any other day, it's your time because your questions are now answered. And as you know, send me questions from now on to an email address, which we see now below then, but not to my personal accounts. And this is questions which you sent already in the past and which I was not able to answer in previous programs. Let's go into it. Come on. So, Andrea from Italy. Bella Italia. Ciao ragazzi. I have a question. Do you know why the Greatest Video Hits 3 was never released? And as far as you know, are there chances for the Innuendo videos to be released officially on DVD Blu-ray? Well, actually, I was also very disappointed because for this Greatest Video Hits 3 or Greatest Flicks 3 as it originally was called, there was a documentary planned between Jim Beach and myself of how all the videos were made, like the background stories to all the videos, and I was assigned to direct and produce it. And because Greatest Flicks 3 never happened, the documentary never happened because it was actually the bonus material for that DVD at the time. No, I do not know. I'm supporting it, but I am not the decision maker here. This obviously is decided by Queen and Jim Beach, and I can only make suggestions. I will do it again, but I hope my voice is heard. But there might be other reasons that I don't know of. I don't know the reason. Okay, Jean-Louis, probably France, doesn't say. By the way, when you send the questions, please always give your name, the city you live in, and the country you live in. It's much nicer if I can add this, then it makes it international. I know that it's all over the world. So, question, was Freddie nervous giving interviews for he always had a cigarette and drink at hand? Well, I don't know if he always had it, but for example, in the famous prostitute interview, which I conducted and directed in Munich, he did was drinking a beer, and he was smoking. I don't think it's nervous. He just had the habit of smoking, and at the time, and there was also not this. Nobody was so conscious like today how bad smoking is for your health. I mean, we always knew it was bad, but nowadays there's much more awareness that smoking is very bad for your health. Even I stopped, and I was a heavy smoker. And the same person has a second question. If Freddie had lived, do you think he would have given up smoking as his voice was his instrument? Well, he actually gave up smoking at the end. It had to do, as I knew at the time, you fans did not know, it had to do with his illness, with HIV/AIDS. He stopped drinking alcohol and he stopped smoking cigarettes, obviously not for a very long period, but he was able to stop. And I'm pretty sure that if Freddie had lived, that he nowadays would not be a smoker anymore. Because Freddie was a very clever guy, and he was very bright. And I was also, so I'm also consider myself not to be dumb, but I was smoking many, many years, like many other people. And I just realized, years ago, but much too late probably, that it's not good for your health. So, Petra Probst from Austria asks me, what Queen videos did you direct and how many? Okay, here we are. Well, to be honest, if you would have asked me unprepared, I would have said roughly 30. But I made this famous list now over the last days when I had time. And it's actually 32 Queen related videos, which by that I mean Queen videos and also solo videos for Queen members. I did solo videos for Freddie, I did solo videos for Brian May, and I did solo videos for Roger Taylor and his band The Cross also. So I go through them because I've never said this, and I probably never have time to say it on a Rudy Backstage. So it's one vision, and it's extended vision, blurred vision. Friends will be friends, living on my own, Freddie solo. Breakthrough, the Invisible Man, extended version of the Invisible Man. Scandal, the Miracle, Time, Freddie solo. In My Defense, Freddie solo. Under Pressure, Ramix, Queen and Bowie. Driven by You, Brian solo. Power of Love, Roger solo as The Cross. Talking of Love, Brian solo as the producer for Anita Dobson actually singing. We filmed that in Vienna. Happiness, Roger solo. Innuendo, The Show Must Go On. And then I created for a compilation which was called Queen Rocks. There was a CD and an album, and I made a video version produced by Jim Beach and myself. And I was doing new videos to songs which are actually before the time when I started to work with Queen. So I did those from Queen Rocks, which was released 1997, but the videos for the songs go back to 74. Stone Cold Crazy, Now I'm Here, Sheer Heart Attack, We Will Rock You, Keep Yourself Alive, Fat Bottom Girls, I'm in Love with My Car, It's Late. Then I did Tie Your Mother Down Through the Years, which is actually I was using I was using a live version of I think 86, but I was syncing up to it all the versions filmed that were existing of this song Tie Your Mother Down. It's actually a very nice one. Seven Seas of Rye and Put Out the Fire. And then I did two more things which I didn't count, which one day I will show in my program. One was Queen Talks, which was actually the B-side of a single. I think it was I'm Going Slightly Mad, but you fans probably know that. Queen Talks was produced and done by me, which was basically a fantasy discussion and conversation of the four of Freddie, Brian, Roger, and John, taken out of many interviews, my interviews, but also other interviews, and creating it into a piece of art. Because Jim Beach called me to tell the truth. This is behind the scenes, and said they always had the tradition, as you know, or still might have, that on the singles, there's no singles anymore, but at that days there were singles in vinyl. On the B-side, they had a song or a version of a song which was not released on an album, so that the fans, when they buy the single, have a bonus, added bonus for something new. Sometimes it was a live version, sometimes it was different versions. So those B-sides usually were very valuable. And it was it was for the Innuendo album, and I think it was Slightly Mad. And they ran out of songs. And Jim said, "Do you have an idea? We need a B-side." And I said, "Well, what I could do is, I could edit, out of interviews, audio only, of course. But I think maybe there was a video version as well. I don't even know. I have to look in my archive. I edited something, and it turned out to be really funny. I mean, those of you who happen to buy this single." Probably have it. I don't know if Queen re-released it on CD or any other format, but that was called Queen Talks. And then there is something which I for sure will show in one of my programs. It's called Freddie's Last Words. And it's, again, interviews, audio, some of them also in video, how Freddie wants to be remembered. I'm not telling more because it's very, very rare. Some of you might have seen it, most of you probably not. but this is going to be a rarity both on Doro TV and in one of my programs. So then somebody is asking, no name, how was the idea for Innuendo born? Why artists Da Vinci, Picasso, and Pollock chosen? Now, for those of you, we probably all know, if you're a Queen fan, the video for Innuendo, the song, of course, title track of the album. And at that time, there was actually decided, not by me, but by Freddie and the band and Jim Beach, that Freddie shouldn't go in front of a camera. So for the first, he later did, but that's a different story. So I was asked to look for shots, because I'm still am, sort of a specialist in what I call fake syncing. For example, in my defense, you sometimes in some shots, you have the illusion that Freddie actually sings one word or more than one word, which of course he never did. The In My Defense video was done by me after Freddie passed. So I was quite good from early on in fake syncing, putting pictures which are actually for a different song and faking it to a different song so that you have the illusion it's right. And so I was asked to do this, and the idea came up that Hibbert and Ralph, which were a duo in London, a animation studio, that they should, based on my chosen live or real life pictures, make something of animation. And I actually don't know who. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Hibbert Ralph were heavily involved in the decision. I would guess that Freddie and the band would also be involved, and I also was a little bit involved, but not so much in choosing the shot, not so much in choosing the artists. And it turned out that a really nice video which I co-directed with Hibbert. So why? Because it were artists who are very influential. Picasso, Da Vinci, and Pollock were artists that were very influential. Okay, now I have a very funny question, the recipe question. Jackie Desieub, I hope I pronounce it half correctly, from Paisley, Ontario, Canada, says, "Hey Rudy, would you be willing to share your salad recipe?" Because I was posting some photos of my almost daily salad. What else is in it besides an avocado and lettuce? It looks besides an avocado and lettuce, it looks really good. So, okay, I promise herewith, and you can drag me down on it, I will write it down. I now, by the way, call it Rudy Backstage Salad, because I always do it when I'm working on Rudy Backstage. And it also includes eggs, and it includes as avocado, tomatoes, some cooked carrots, asparagus, etc. I will do it, and as soon as I have it, I will post it. Okay, Jackie? So, bio question. Rudy, I would love to hear about your history, from where you come, etc. Okay. So a short version. There is, I'm sure there's bios on Wikipedia, but be careful, not everything on Wikipedia is correct, especially about me. I once was checking it and there was a lot of mistakes. And I never have the time to write them, to correct them, because I'm always busy. Now, as you know, with writing the book, which is probably the most important thing I've done in a long time, after the Freddie videos and the Queen videos, and after the Whitney Houston documentary. It's definitely a super main project. Now, I'm born and raised in Vienna, Austria. Born in the 9th district. I went to school in a high school in the 19th district. Graduated from high school. And then at that time I was captain of the football, which is soccer here in America, team. I was also the speaker of all Austrian school speakers and doing negotiations with secretaries of education, etc. I was the master in Czech. I was very good in athletics, track and fields, I think you say here in America. And I was in the basketball team. I was in the hockey team. So I was a very sportive guy. This is why I was very slim and then lost it after I stopped all that. And then I remember when I was finishing high school, they always put out a book at the end of the year where the boys and girls, or at the time it was a boys' school only. There were no girls. I graduated 1976. And they were always asked, well, what are your plans for the next step, for the future? What are you going to study or whatever? And I said, oh my God, how should I decide for one? You know, I was doing sports, I was doing school politics, I was in so many teams, etc. I was also in the theater group, by the way, with Christoph Waltz, the two-time Oscar and Golden Globe winner. I was playing on the little stage every year from the school, and later also in the little theater group. So I couldn't decide. But actually I had to decide. And funny enough, none of that was in the beginning has to do with photography or film. This only came a little bit after. But I started to study journalism and politics, would you believe it? And law, because my father said if you study politics and journalism later, then also film school, I'm not supporting you. You must either medicine or law. So I picked law, and I was, people were helping me to get through the exams. And then I started working for Austrian television, and later I started to work for German television, etc. And then the videos, and blah blah blah. So this is a little bit of my early history. I hope you're happy. Karen from Western New York. When was the last time you spoke with the boys? Well, I'm in, she means Brian, Roger, and John. Well, I haven't spoken to John in quite a while or exchanged. I think he's still very recluse. I'm in contact, but last I saw them physically at the world premiere of Bohemian Rhapsody in London, where they invited me, but I'm in contact with both of them via emails and other mediums, only a few days ago with Brian. We are constantly exchanging, but it's not physically on the phone. As you know, there is, also a time difference of about 6 hours or 5 hours or 7 hours, depending. And therefore, the calling, you never know when somebody's working. So we do it via email or Instagram or Facebook. What did Jim mean to Freddie when you saw them together? How was Freddie outside the camera life? From Phoebe or from Portland in USA. Well, I had also people writing to me that who were saying that Jim was abusing Freddie. That is most of it not really true. This is based on misunderstandings in Jim's book, which, as you know, actually was written by a journalist. He said the infos, but Freddie wouldn't have ever let happen anything to him that he didn't want or that he didn't tolerate. That's just for people who Freddie was. For me, that was a love affair. And yes, it could have been that if Freddie would not have gotten the illness, which, brought them together. And Jim once told me, Freddie said, well, this is what happens now. I have HIV, AIDS, and the door is always open if you want to leave. And Jim said, don't be foolish. I'm not leaving you in this situation. And he stayed with him. If that would not have happened, God knows what would have happened. Freddie was somebody who fell in and out of love very quickly. But because of what happened, they stayed together for that many years. And I am absolutely convinced it was a love affair. Diogo from Portugal. Did you know Reinhold Mack? If so, what's your relation with him? Well, I'm still in contact with Mack. We're working actually soon. We're discussing a new project together. And I have to thank him because he was one of the reasons I got my first job as a video director, because they were recording in Munich, and he was in Munich. You could see the Austrian television where I already did things with the Rolling Stones and Frank Zappa and Tina Turner. And when they were discussing, my name came up, and then Reinhold, to as far as I remember, said, well, this guy is not bad. So, by the way, thank you, Mac. And yes, of course, I mean, he's a very important influence. There's no doubt about it. Not only as a producer, but also as a friend, he and his wife. Because don't forget, Mac's son, Freddie, is what do you say? I forgot the English expression, but the Taufpate, the person who is, when you get your name, is sort of the witness. Caroline from Lexington, Kentucky. Have you ever gone to Freddie's house? So, what was it like? Well, many, many times. You will also read this in my book. Both the old house or apartment, rather. Of course, very often in Munich. That's how we met, and where we met through. Also working on Living on My Own, One Vision, and even before that, documentary work. But also, of course, Logan Place, Garden Lodge. Of course. Well, it looked like a house of an artist. I'm not sure, but I think I had the idea of filming the house, empty, of course, after Freddie passed, to document forever how it looked when he passed. And this footage is somewhere. Maybe I even released that one day. Have you ever met Mary? Of course, darling. Haven't you seen my documentary, The Untold Story? Yeah, Grammy, big. 2000. The interview in there. How do you think this happened? Yeah, she didn't interview herself. No, I met Mary often, shortly, and around this filming very intensively, 99, 2000. And in this interview, she said for the first time how that was when Freddie said that he actually found out that he loves men. And I salute her for how she was. I know, again, there is a lot of people who say what Mary and this and that. I discussed that in my book. It's too long to discuss it here, but you shouldn't believe everything that also so-called people who know a lot. Yes, trust Peter Freestone. Yes, of course, trust Brian and Roger and Jim Beach. But I would be very skeptical with a lot of the other people that are talking, or writing, or doing blogs or whatever. Mary was a very, very great supporter of my documentary, The Untold Story. Well, and the last one for today, a Russian fan. You never sent me your name. I met you the first time in Montreux. We're going to see a photograph now. In 2006, at the 30th anniversary, you signed me a badge, and I still keep it, and the photo taken with you. Well, this wasn't actually a question. It was sort of something, but it's very nice. I have actually posted the photo, and Montreux is cancelled for this year. I was invited to come, and I would have been there. I would have also, talked and maybe more about my Freddie book. And unfortunately, this has to happen 1 year later. And we don't know about Breakthrough. It's not cancelled yet, or not cancelled. Maybe it stays. I don't know. But when we meet, you will see that I am, as long as I have energy, a regular guy. I'm not a star. I'm not a legend. I was just a filmmaker. Yes, I did my contribution, but I learned to keep yourself a little bit, you know, don't take yourself too seriously, is what I tell myself very often. But the support of you fans and followers is great. Please keep on doing it. Please help me with Doro TV, with the YouTube channel. Help me with the pre-orders of the book. And I will help you when we meet each other with autographs, signings of stuff. And I will be, because as Freddie once said, we are nothing without the fans, which is a good ending quote. I thank you very much. This was the first edition of Backstage Plus. See you soon for another Backstage Plus. Send me your question to the email that we showed you, and love and respect. Mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you very much.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudy, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen.
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage. All you ever want. Backstage. All you ever need. Backstage. Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never want to leave. You want to sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage. They've laid on everything